Hi, Emma. Emma, did you have any issues yesterday with questions from yesterday?
No, I didn't.
Okay, you were able to get them?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So what we'll do today then, girls, is we'll start on page 199. And we'll go through, so it talks about solving more problems. So the last two sections were just working on how you can solve them. Now you can choose the method that you like the best, whether it's elimination or substitution method, okay? So it's up to you. But again, the difficulty is going to be setting these equations up. And then once you have them set up, then it's up to you to solve whichever way you want. Whether you can solve it graphing. I wouldn't solve any of them graphing. I would check every one of them graphing, but I would work on my algebra skills with elimination and substitution methods. Okay? All right. So what we're going to do then is all we're going to do is we'll look at the problem, the example on page 199. So it says an aircraft travels 5,432 kilometers from Montreal to Paris in 7 hours with a tailwind and returns in 8 hours against the wind. Determine the wind speed and the speed of the aircraft in still air. What assumptions are you making? Okay, so when we do these questions, now we do a number of these questions in grade 11 that are like this. And what we learn in grade 11 is we try and set up a chart for this. When it comes to distance, time, and speed, the best way to do the question is to actually set up the question using a chart. Okay. So here's what I do. So it's Montreal to Paris. Excuse me. Montreal to Paris, and then Paris to Montreal. Okay, the distance is the same for both, 5,432. The speed at which the plane flies at, we're going to put as x. Okay, and the speed at which, so I should have wrote, this should have been my first statement, actually, is my defining statement. X is going to be the speed of the plane. And y is going to be the wind speed. Okay? Just going to move this all over. Give me some space here. So Montreal to Paris, Paris to Montreal, distance, speed, and time. Okay, so the distance I have is 5,432. All right. The speed to Paris is with the wind. It's wind aided. So how do I show the plane and the wind going together in the same direction? I add them. And the time it takes is 7 hours. To work my way back, he flies against the wind. So x minus y is equal to 8 hours. So far, so good, girls? All right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, to calculate your distance, I take my speed and I times it by time. And I said this to you yesterday. My favorite thing to get this across to people is to say this. All right, I want to know how far I went. I traveled 100 kilometers an hour for 3 hours. So that triggers you to use multiplication for it. So it'll be 300 kilometers, right? So distance is equal to speed times time. So in the first one, I have 5,432 equals x plus y times 7. And in the second one, 5,432 equals x plus y, x subtract y times 8. All right, girls, are we okay? You follow what we're doing there?
Yep. Yep.
Perfect. All right, so there's two ways we can approach this question now. The first way is to multiply the 7 and 8 through the bracket. Now, I don't have a problem with that. That works fine. But I just used my calculator just to do some quick math. And what I found out was I can divide 5,432 by both 7 and 8. So that's what I'm going to do first. And it's going to make this question so much easier if I do it that way. So I'm going to go A again. Now I'm going to divide 5,432 divided by 7, and I get 776 is equal to x plus y. My B, I'm going to divide 5,432 by 8, and I'm going to get 679 equals x minus y. Now I've got this set up so nicely for the elimination method. So I'm going to take this, add those two together. So I'm going to get 2x here equals 1,455 divided by 2. X equals 727.5. So the plane, all right, is flying at 727.5 kilometers per hour. All right. Sorry, girls, I got to just interrupt for 1 second, okay? Good morning. I'm all right. How are you? Good. I am. I'll give you my dad's number. He's got both the boys right now. So it's 937-7334. And if you don't get a hold of him, I'll be around with him this afternoon. We'll call you then. Okay, thanks. No, wait. Okay, bye. Sorry, girls. Okay, so this is what the plane speed is, 727.5 kilometers per hour. My y, I want to solve for it. So I've got, I'm going to use this equation here. So 776 equals 727.5 plus y. Y is equal to, so I subtract 776, subtract 48, or sorry, subtract 727, and that gives me 48.5 kilometers per hour. All right. So had I multiplied the 7 through and the 8 through, I might have done the substitution method, or I might have tried to do it a different method using elimination, but I would have had to multiply this also by 8 and this by 7, and it would have been quite a bit more work. So by just simply dividing by 7 here and 8 here, okay, I end up with an easy way to do the elimination method. Okay, questions, girls? Are you okay with that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's have a look in your book. It says solve each system of linear equations by an algebraic method. So when it says by an algebraic method, you can use the elimination or substitution, whichever one you want to use in order to solve it. So I think question 1 and 2 will be fine for you. I'm not too worried about it. So let's look at number 3. Okay, so now we get into the problems. So I'm going to set a couple of these up for you. I'll do 3 and then pick another one. And then I want you just to go through and work on this. So number 3, the perimeter of a rectangular field is 6,400 meters. 2 times the width is 40 more than the length. Determine the dimensions of the field. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to write out a defining statement. My defining statement, x, y. X, width, y, length. Okay. Now, my personal suggestion to you, when we end up with questions like this, in which I have areas and perimeters that we're dealing with, I want to probably draw myself a picture to give myself a visual. Okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a rectangle here. Make this x and this x and this y and this y. All right? So my first equation says that the perimeter of this is equal to 6,400. So I add up all my sides. And that equals 6,400. So I like this here just to see it. Now, if I get used to doing it, it makes it a lot easier in grade 12 or grade 11 when I start doing areas with them and I do quadratic equations. So I like to draw the pictures now, get a visual, see how it looks. The second part of this says 2 times the width is 40 more than the length. Okay? So in B, my length, which I said was y, is 2x. Now I got to think this through. It says 2 times the width is 40 more than the length. So do I add 40 or do I subtract 40 here, girls?
What did you say you cut out?
Okay, so I said 2 times the width is 40 more than the length. So do I add 40 to the 2 times the width or do I subtract the 40?
Add.
Okay, so if I go 2 times at 2x plus 40, will that give me the length? It's hard the way it's worded, right?
Yeah. So
here's a better way to do it. Okay? Let's follow the way the words work for us. This might make it a little easier for you. It says 2 times the width. So I start with that. 2x. Is an important word when it comes to word problems because it means equals. Is 40 more than the length? So if I take the length, I need 40 more than that. I add 40 to it, like that. Okay? So, in other words, for this part, you were correct. I got to add 40 to the length. So I want to do the best I can to follow what the words and the order in which the words are telling me. 2 times the width, 2x, is equals 40 more than the length, 40 plus y. All right? So now I have 2x plus 2y. I can multiply this by a negative. Yeah, you can do it. You can do a number of things, or you could actually use substitution method too. So whatever method you wanted, I would probably use substitution method. Y equals 2x minus 40. Substitute that into a. So 2x plus 2 times 2x subtract 40 equals 6,400. And I would solve it using substitution method. But you use the method that you like the best. In this one, I used substitution because it was easy to get y by itself by just subtracting the 40. And then I substituted back into the first equation. So it's kind of up to you as to what you're comfortable with. All right? That's about all I have. example wise that I think I need to show you right now. So why don't we take the next 20 to a half hour here, girls, and you work on page 201, and I'll stay on here with you. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask. All right? You girls have a half an hour to spend on math this morning? Okay. I'll wait here for you. I'll just put you on mute, or put myself on mute. Okay.